Hey dancers, my name is Kirsten. Welcome back to TwinTalksBallet, your place on the internet for tips, tricks, and advice on how to flourish as a dancer. So today I'm going to be talking on a subject that has been widely requested, very much in need during this time, no surprises, which is tips on how to get motivated. Chances are, if you clicked on this video, you're a dancer who's been kind of having to work yourself up a lot more just to do the things that you're very used to doing, like taking class. And chances are you maybe still have big goals as a dancer. You know audition season is coming up. You want to continue to improve your technique. Yet the feeling of motivation you have to actually do the action to accomplish those goals is maybe, like for many dancers, at an all-time low. I can empathize with that struggle. I've definitely coached many dancers through that process of understanding where that loss of motivation is coming from and helping them to actually reconstruct habits and recreate a mindset or create a new mindset that allows them to regain that sense of motivation, to really allow them to not only take action towards their goals, but to feel really, really excited to pursue their goals and to fulfill them. In this video, I'm excited to share with you 3 powerful tips on how to regain that sense of motivation that you need to train at the level you want to train. I do want to say before this video gets started that though these tips are, I believe, very helpful, they can be very helpful to you if you've been sensing not only a loss of motivation, but a sense of burnout and just genuinely wondering if you want to pursue a career in ballet anymore, or if you just want to continue to train at the level that you're training. If you've been wondering what career path is best for you and you're actually afraid of making that decision, you don't know if it's time to leave ballet, that's a really highly emotional decision. It's very, very tough to make. I've been through that myself. And so I want to just let you know that if you're sensing something deeper than a loss of motivation, you're welcome to try these tips. But I do want to encourage you to get support through understanding what next steps are best for you in your career so that you can come to a decision from a place of knowing yourself and what's going on the inside. You can come to a decision that actually you're very confident in, you're excited for your future, and free from regret if you choose to move on from ballet. This is something I support dancers through as a mindset coach for ballet dancers, and as a former professional dancer, I've been through this myself, so I can empathize with how tough it is. And I just want you to know that you can reach out to me at kirstenkemp.com and schedule a free coaching consultation to discuss if coaching would be a great solution for you personally to help you get very clear and confident on what you want your relationship with ballet to be going forward. So the first factor for gaining motivation that I want to discuss with you is the importance of acting in alignment with the identity that you want for yourself. So the concept of identity is so important in terms of the fact that identity and who we perceive ourselves to be is one of the most powerful determinants for our personal behaviors, our perspectives, our beliefs, our actions, and therefore our results. If you are constantly telling yourself, I'm just the laziest person, I'm such a lazy person, then you probably have no qualms just acting in alignment with that identity. Or rather, maybe you're discouraged by that. You don't want to be a lazy person, but when you do act like a lazy person, it's not really abnormal for you. It's not surprising to you. And I just want to encourage you guys to really take charge of being the kind of person you want to be. Be decisive about who you want to see yourself acting in the world as. Part of gaining confidence is having self-respect, and part of having self-respect is knowing who we want to be and witnessing ourselves acting like that person. Now, I'm going to tie this into how to gain motivation in a moment, but I do want to preface this point with just saying that the topic of identity is also the topic that probably troubles us the most during times like this. So I really don't want to insinuate that. However, if you've come to this video and you are not feeling motivated, you are feeling like you're lazy, like you're just wasting your time, like you're not productive, you're not adding value to the world, and you start telling yourself things about who you are, like you're a failure, you're just not a very good dancer. These are identity statements. So I want to strongly urge you and beg you, even if I could, to really eradicate those terms from your language. Those things are not who you are, okay? Just because you're seeing yourself doing those things does not mean that's all you are and that's all you ever really will be. I was actually speaking to a mindset coaching client this past week, and she was talking about feeling stuck in a certain mental state and a certain pattern of behavior. And we were talking about how when you get that voice in your head that's like, oh, you're so lazy. Isn't it true that when that triggers that negative emotional state for you, that it just feels like the truest statement in the whole world? It just feels like, yes, this is who I really am deep down, and all the good things I've ever done, like, those are a lie. That's me pretending. Like, oh my gosh, comment down below if that's true for you too, because absolutely, I know that when I get in my own head and that when I'm not very happy with my behaviors and my results in life, I start to get discouraged like any normal human being. Like, hello, it is so normal. And then when you have those thoughts going in your head, it just feels like it's the truest thing that ever was, you know? And then you take positive action because you don't want to feel like that anymore. But even whatever positive results you're getting, it's coming from this place of, yeah, well, that positive result was a fluke. That's not really who I am. And I want to just stop you right there and say, no one's able to carry on an act for that long, okay? If you are truly showing up and you're going to ballet class and you're like, fake it till you make it, and you feel confident because you're faking it, you tell yourself you're faking it, you feel confident, you project yourself like as if you have confidence, you present yourself that way, and then you perform with confidence. Who's to say that's also not real? Even if you tell yourself you're pretending, if you're really feeling that way on the inside because you've decided that's how you're going to feel, I want to tell you that is also you as a person acting on your just infinite potentiality. We all have a potential for an identity that is so expansive, so beyond like what we've experienced so far. For so many of us, we just label who we are as what we've done in the past. But I want to tell you that that is not who you are, okay? Who you are is something that you can also decide for yourself in a way. You could decide how you want to show up in the world. You could decide, and here's how this ties into motivation, you could decide, you know what? What's important to me, what helps me to gain that sense of empowerment and self-respect that helps me to function best in my life is I want to be a disciplined person. You start telling yourself, I am a disciplined person. And I want you to write that down and then also write down at least one action you could do every day. Keep it very simple. That reinforces that identity of you being a disciplined person. So it could be, I'm a creative person. I'm an adaptable person. I personally loved that during quarantine. When I was teaching from home, I didn't enjoy teaching from home. Like, are you kidding me? I would way rather like be in a studio. Come on. I think that's an experience a lot of us resonate with. And so what I found encouragement and motivation in is being also an encouraging person. I showed up to my classes and I was like, I might not be happy about where I'm dancing right now, but I want to be the kind of person that encourages my students who probably feel the same way. And they're like teenagers, so they probably feel more intense about it than I do, you know? So I want you to acknowledge or just write down for yourself, who is the kind of person that you want to be while you're training at home or while things are just not ideal for you, and determine what action you are committed to yourself that you will take every day to reinforce that sense of identity. So my second thing I want to touch on in terms of how to gain motivation is the importance of crafting an environment that makes the actions you want to take easy for you. Or in other words, it makes the success you want natural for you. What we put ourselves around, especially our physical environment, it is full of cues, okay? So when you're dancing in your living room and you see your couch, that couch is not just a couch to your brain. To your brain, it's a signal to chill and watch Netflix, to sit and maybe do homework, to sit and just doink on your computer. By the way, doink is like my favorite word now. Like, I need to bring that back. Or for instance, you're dancing next to your cats. I'm teaching next to my cats all the time when I teach from home. Your brain looks at the cats and it's like, oh, time to play with the cats. And I really want to emphasize this point for all you dancers who are watching, because I want you to really understand that whatever lack of motivation you're feeling right now, I want to say it's important to take responsibility for the results you want, but at the same time, this is not your fault, okay? I want you to understand how meticulously our daily class environment, like when I don't know if you're able to take group class right now, but the thing is, like, the environment, the physical environment of a ballet studio and the ritual of going there, being with a teacher who holds you accountable, being with classmates who are striving towards the same thing, that is literally like the secret sauce for being able to do crazy disciplined things all day. Like, honestly, if you think of how much discipline dancers have, it is the perfection of how the ballet class environment is set up that actually eradicates the need to use willpower, at least to a high level, in order to get myself to do these actions, like take hours of ballet classes a day. The thing is, people who do take consistent action towards their goals and sense motivation to do that, actually, it's not that they have more willpower, and you've probably heard this before, it's that they create habits and an environment for themselves in which willpower is hardly necessary in order to take the action they want to take. So for instance, if you build a habit of like, it's a no-brainer. You wake up and you make a healthy breakfast for yourself. How about that? And you've done it for years. And then a person who is like new to the concept of eating breakfast, they've never liked it in their life, and they're like, gosh, I think I need to get on a regular eating schedule. For that person, if they set up their environment in a way that's like, okay, I've created a trigger of what I do every morning already is I at least have some coffee. And so what they can do is they pre-make their breakfast the night before, and right after they have the coffee, they've decided that's the cue. The cue to their mind is, okay, I have coffee. The next thing is breakfast. That's already made in the fridge. That is a situation in which that person has eradicated as much need for willpower as is possible in that situation, versus a person who just wakes up and is like, I didn't even buy groceries for breakfast. What am I going to make? I don't feel like it. Like that's normal because they've created a situation in which willpower is so necessary in order to get the action accomplished. So what I want to share with you and tips on how you could craft your environment socially and physically to spur on, or even with your schedule and your habits, to spur on that feeling of motivation to take class, or even so that you don't really need motivation to do it. You just do it, you know? Here are some tips I have for you. So first, you can craft your environment socially. One client I've been working with recently has shared with me that one thing she does before Zoom classes, which usually she's not motivated to do at all, is she will actually FaceTime one of her friends who's about to take the same class, and they'll like talk and maybe warm up together. And so that gives her that same feeling of connection that is a highly motivating factor for her in ballet. It gives her a very big sense of reward to feel connected to her peers. And by the way, bonus tip, know what's important to you about ballet. Know what it is that gives you a sense of reward. Is it the sense of community it provides for you? Is it the sense of personal expression? Is it like it could even be achievement, external validation, which requires someone to see you and acknowledge you? Know what that is for yourself and be really honest about it. And what you can do is actually intentionally recreate that for yourself in your current environment. So maybe if you do, like my client, have a high value for community, and that gives you that sense of desire to go to ballet class, FaceTime a friend beforehand. You know, if you're just trying to take a ballet class on your own or do a workout on your own, schedule time with a friend that you're going to do it so you have accountability. Another thing is in terms of crafting your physical space, if you are, for example, dancing in your bedroom, and if you're like me, I do not make my bed. Does that make me a slob? Maybe. Whatever. So I don't make my bed, but probably if I were going to have to take class in my bedroom every day, what I would do is I would clear everything out of the way and well, of course you would do that so you have space already, but I would actually make my bed so it looks like clean. It signals to my brain, you are disciplined enough to do that, so you're going to take a good ballet class. I would make sure that the room is as clean as possible so there are as little distractions as possible. And I don't just mean like, oh, noises or like a dog in there. That's going to obviously attract your attention. But things like even posters on the wall that you're used to looking at and you look at them right before you go to sleep. It's like a cue to your brain like, oh, I look at these before I go to bed, even if it's not very conscious. If you think of it, you can bring it to the conscious awareness. And maybe what you need to do for you is take those posters off the wall. And so it almost looks like a clean slate, like a ballet studio. These little things seem simple, but it can honestly make a big difference. Maybe a motivating factor for you or something that triggers your brain to be like, okay, it's ballet time, is getting in your whatever your uniform leotard maybe and like doing your hair in a bun with hairspray. And you've been taking class at home and you kind of, maybe the dress code isn't as enforced. Maybe you're like, I don't really need to do like the full slick back bun thing. Do it for yourself as a physical cue of it is time to do ballet now. Okay, because it normalizes or it helps you to get into that same mental state as you would be when you're feeling the same way, but maybe just in a different environment and you're ready to take class. Lastly, I already touched on this a little bit, but I'm going to talk about the importance of intentionally giving yourself a sense of reward. So how can you use a sense of reward on purpose to stimulate a sense of motivation to train? What you can do is, and I already alluded to this, but very specifically and intentionally sit down with yourself with a paper and pen and ask yourself the question, what is it about dancing or my daily training routine that gives me the greatest sense of reward? Not only identify like what it is that gives you a sense of reward, but what is it about that thing that makes it rewarding for you? With the example of like performing. For so many dancers, the act of performing it's not just like, oh, I find performing rewarding. Well, what does performing really do for you? It gives you something to work towards. It gives you an objective. It gives you a meaning for a time. So maybe by deconstructing that, what you can then do after you identify what is it that gives you that sense of reward, and get more specific than just performing. What is it about performing that gives you a sense of reward? How does that feel for you? Then what you could do from there is reconstruct that feeling for yourself. So you can ask yourself, what is something I can do on a daily basis, or what is a short-term, like 1 month goal I can set for myself that I could actually get that sense of payoff from? Is it that, if you really value performing and what you really need is something to like work towards, you can do something like set up a virtual showcase, choreograph a piece for yourself as a way to stimulate your creativity, and maybe film it, make a little like dance reel for Instagram or something, choreograph a little piece, title it, maybe edit that video on like iMovie or something. Or like one of my clients has done is what she did during a disappointing time where she ended up going to fly to complete a contract in Europe. What she did is she ended up having to wait because the laws changed and she couldn't join classes. And so what she ended up doing to motivate herself to train during that difficult circumstance, it was very disappointing and demotivating. She actually chose to prepare variations for herself and film those videos and send it into like a virtual audition that she didn't even like really necessarily plan on doing, but she gave herself that objective. There's a deadline and other people were going to see it. So it gave her that sense of motivation to continue and that sense of reward, like, wow, okay, I did something. Next, I also want to just add on to this point of reward is daily. Set up one thing you will do to reward yourself for completing your daily training routine. Do something for yourself that you would not otherwise do, something that is actually enticing for you to give yourself that sense of reward. Maybe, say an affirming statement to yourself afterwards, like, I appreciate myself for doing this. I'm proud of myself for doing it. Have an accountability buddy that you tell, I did this. I'm proud of myself. Boom, here it is. Set up that sense of reward for yourself, that little ritual that gets you excited, that motivates you to complete the action. And I'll leave you with a bonus tip, number 4, which is to build momentum. After you've gone through these 3 steps of choosing what's the kind of person you want to be, and who do you want to see yourself as, and what can you do to fulfill that identity every day or to build that sense of identity in yourself. Second, craft your environment. Set up positive triggers that actually trigger your mind to want to dance and to actually complete the action without the need for so much willpower to do it. Third, build a sense of reward. Identify what it is about dancing that gives you a sense of reward and reconstruct a new way of actually attaining that sense of reward. 4, after you do all those things, build momentum. It is so important to know that maybe in the first couple days, doing whatever you want to do, adding something to your routine, whatever it is maybe going to feel a little more challenging, maybe a little foreign, and that's okay. But I promise you, one thing that the human mind gains a tremendous sense of reward from is doing things that are challenging and having this feeling of forward momentum in your life. Making progress can be addicting, and that's a good thing. Work with that. So just tell yourself that as you are doing these things, as you're training, as you are maybe setting a short-term goal for how you want to improve, redefine what dancing is about for you during this time. I could have made that a whole point. It's actually quite worth it. Maybe this should be the bonus tip. Redefine what dancing is about for you right now. So is it about like getting into a company? I think right now that causes a lot of stress because we don't even know, like, our company's going to be auditioning? Are they looking for dancers? What's the climate of that going to be like right now? It's understandably going to be tough. And so maybe that's causing a lack of motivation because you're like, everything I've worked for, like, it just seems harder to get there than ever. And that's totally understandable. I would feel demotivated by that as well, of course. So what you can do right now is, if you find it meaningful to continue, if that is really what you want to do, and it is okay if it's not, it is okay if you take a break from ballet, it is really okay. I think that would maybe be a beautiful thing for so many dancers to do right now, if that's what they decide is best for them. So dancers, those are my 3 tips plus 2 little bonus tips at the end. I really hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.